Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you're at. Welcome back to Continuous and Never Ending Improvement, or CANI as we like to call it. I'm Jake Shortfager, joined as always by Olivia White, Samantha White, and Jalen Phillips, aka Whiskers. But we're happy as always to come to you today here and just talk about development, improving, all those things. What we're going to talk about today is we've kind of been acting it out by continuing this, but following through with everything. Our laws of leadership have taken probably a little bit longer than we thought they would with some obstacles in the way. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, help us out, share it, tell a friend to tell a friend. But yeah, with that, one thing I wanted to talk about, I think maybe to open it up, was I've been watching Hard Knocks. Football's back. If you didn't hear, you heard now. But yeah, I was watching Hard Knocks, and Eberflus was saying winning doesn't make you a winner and losing doesn't make you a loser. But it's winning habits that make you a winner and losing habits that make you a loser. So I think maybe in terms of following through with everything, just talking about what are some bad habits, good habits that we have? How hard is it to, change habits, break habits, and maybe even just to create habits? But Jay, I'll pass it to you there first. But yeah, what do you think is biggest difficulty or obstacle in, we'll say, changing a habit?
Really just, I'd say the discipline to just stick with it. Change is uncomfortable, change is new, change is different, and really that's the biggest thing. And the longer you've done something, obviously the same over and over and over again, the harder it's going to be to actually break that cycle. So that's why I say the hardest thing definitely has to be just discipline. You know what I'm saying? To stay with it.
Yeah, what do y'all think about habits in general?
I was thinking of procrastinating, because I can get an idea in my head that this is something I should do, and then I'll make excuses and be like, well, I need to prepare for it, or I need to make sure it's the perfect time, so when I start it, the routine can be established and I don't rush into it and just find all these reasons to keep pushing it off until it almost falls below the wayside and I forget it completely. So I don't know, I think that's something I struggle with habits, is I want everything to be perfect to start it, but really that's just an excuse to procrastinate.
No, I agree, because whenever I started working out again, I know a lot of people have this mindset too. You never want to start in the middle of a week. So you're I'll start Monday, and then Monday comes around and you got busy with something else, and you're it'll be next Monday, and then 3 months go by and you still haven't started working out because you're waiting for the perfect Monday to come.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up. There was I'd have to bring it up on my phone, which we're using right now, but I think it was Japanese tactics. There's 6 or 7 of them to basically fighting procrastination, and the one was, it talked about basically not waiting for perfection, because perfection is unattainable, it never comes around. So just kind of starting and integrating your small wins from there, and I wish I could look it up and be more specific on exactly how they said it, but yeah, it just kind of talks about fighting that the laziness is specifically what it was about. But yeah, they're just kind of jumping in and building it from where it's at, rather than looking for, well, I needed to be here to jump into it. So yeah, I think that's important. And yeah, I think just like you touched on, I think just the comfort, I think that's the big thing to me, is why it leads to the procrastination. We talked about in other episodes, just the try to get it right today, but the change happens when the pain of staying the same is more painful than the pain of changing. And I think that's kind of where it's at too, is if you just, you're getting by with that habit, why change? And yeah, I think we are creatures of habit. I mean, that's a saying and a phrase for a reason. But yeah, I think just following through with everything too, I mean, kind of round it back to that. I guess consistency we can touch on there too. What are, I guess, biggest things that lead us to not following through with the changing the habits and things like that?
I think a lot of it comes down to personal things, there's always something that's gonna outweigh what you should be doing in your mind. But I mean, we're human, we wanna go have fun, we wanna sit on our phones, we wanna watch TV, so I feel like there's something always that is going to take priority, but you kinda know in the back of your mind that it probably shouldn't, but you still let it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, biggest thing for me, I think we just get tired, you know,
Yeah.
exhaustion, things like that. I mean, just to kind of open it up a little bit, but yeah,
I don't know. I was thinking like follow through with everything. People have made so many excuses that like these phrases are coined to like use as an excuse when we don't. Of like, oh, I'm gonna like under promise, over deliver, or I'll over promise and under deliver, and that's literally like the opposite of following through with everything. If you say you're gonna do it, just do it. Why do you have to over or under and give a different like? But I think like a lot of people do get stuck in over promising and then not being able to follow through because they are tired or busy with other things and they over committed. I know like I have seasons where I do that and it's really hard to follow through, and you have to be completely intentional and conscious of it because it's like not something quick I can squeeze in my day. Like I definitely overcommitted myself and said I'd show up here, and then next weekend I'd show up here, and then next thing you know it's like I haven't been home any weekend of the entire month, and I need to catch up on laundry, this, that, and the other, and it's just like the over committing is where people get in trouble. But at the same time, do you want to undercommit? You know, it's like there's that fine line and that balance is like you want to say yes, but like within a certain boundary, I guess.
Yeah, it's such a balance because I know I personally get frustrated when people are like, well, I'll do it as soon as I can. I'm like, that's not an answer. But then sometimes I'm like, on the other flip of it, I would be happier that that would be their response instead of them saying, yeah, I'll do it today, and then it never gets done. So it's like, yeah, sometimes you want a date, but also then you get frustrated on the other side and you're like, okay, well, when is as soon as you can? Like, that's not an answer.
yeah. No, that's a great point. In the Chosen, Jesus says, he's like, let me tell you about this word soon. You know what I mean? And that's like kind of the joke throughout is like soon could be 3 lifetimes from now, you know, in terms of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, that's great stuff there, just in terms of as long as they mean like as soon as I can, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, let me just trust them, you know. And I think that's the big thing too, is almost like you said, overcommitting, but I think we overcompensate a lot of times and just like filling in the blanks in terms of I need to do this, I need to do that, and it's like, well, I haven't been, like you said, I haven't been home, and just really finding the balance between that in terms of what do I actually have to do, you know what I mean, in terms of to keep pushing it forward and not just be complacent, but to not overcompensate, you know, and throw myself away, you know, my life away and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. You look like you're working on a thought there.
No, we're having just great discussion. I'm just listening to what you guys are saying and just hearing you out. I think Sam, you were on to something that just sparked my interest and just sparked me to think, like, because I think it's a growing process. I think it really is in terms of like the ability to know how much you can commit and not. And I think you said it best, there's a balance to all of it. And that's just where my head's going, is like, where is that balance? And like almost like, where is that balance? And like, is that balance always moving? You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you know, we're growing too, but like, that's all I'm thinking about. What do you guys think?
I think it's like a pendulum, like a lot of things in life. You might have a season where you are saying yes to more, committing and like over promising and doing your best to follow through, and then you might have a season where you kind of pull back and need some self-care and, you know, say no to some more things. And I don't know, perfect balance is never achievable, so it kind of swings, I think, more than anything, and it averages out. But
yeah, it's like you don't want to stretch yourself too thin for other people, but you also don't want to stretch yourself too thin for yourself. It's like, why can't there just be a perfect medium? But I think it's like you said, it weighs itself out during seasons. There's never always going to be a perfect balance every day of your life.
And it's like we don't even recognize until like it was too much, and then we'll swing the other way. But when it's like the beginning of like a season where we're doing a little bit more, we're like, oh, this is good, and then
Yeah.
like, okay, never mind. Like go back this way.
You don't realize until people start texting you like, "Are you alive?" Like,
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, oops."
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 'Cause I think you hit the nail on the head in there with, and then y'all kind of expanded on it, but just with it's always moving in my mind, and you touched on it in terms of seasons. And for me, what I'm learning, I think the trick is to not try to control the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the storm, I can control myself and where I go within that and go with the flow, but yeah, controlling the season is what leads to the stress and things like that. And I think that just goes back to realizing, you know, what I can control, making sure that, you know, I am doing those things, and then, but not being overly frustrated or overly proud with the result. You know, I can't give myself too much credit if I get the result I want out of it and think, wow, look how good I am. You know what I mean? Because that'll lead to a whole other problem. We're just, wow, this sucks. I'm not ever gonna be good enough because I can't get the result. And just realize, for me at least, it's about managing. And they talk about it in maybe not Hard Knocks, but just in the sports world of, you know, when you hear a leader like, they never get too hot, they never get too cold. You know what I mean? They never too up, never too down. Like, and that's just, you just steer the ship. Like, you can't get too excited when things go right, and you can't get too down when things go bad. You just gotta, for consistency, kind of find that, like we were talking about, that balance of, in, I guess to answer the question, for me, the balance isn't in the season, but it's in managing ourselves within that and just kind of riding it. Yeah, just realizing what I can control, letting God control the rest, and staying after it, regardless of results.
You get the nail on the head though, in terms of like just realizing what season you're in though, because when it comes to follow through with everything, a lot of that comes down to like that expectation that you set. You know what I'm saying? Like, what expectation are you setting for that person? And like, that's where it gets very challenging, because like, you know, when you get started, you're excited, right? So you're gonna tell them, and you're gonna have them expect that you're gonna be crossing every single I's, dotting all your T's, or crossing your T's, dotting all your I's. I was like, I said that wrong. And I said to say, you know, you go through one of those seasons where you need a minute to, you know, refill your cup so you can fill it out, and or fill out others. But I say to say, one of my issues, and that's where the follow through with everything comes in, is like just knowing, like, take a step back. You know what I'm saying? People won't expect it from you, but just coming from that season to, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. I just saw today, so, I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly how it said it, but it's basically like you need to be as ready to wait as you are to go. You know what I mean? Like, it made me think of just the other day when I went home, like, just get out of the way. There's gonna be times when it's like, okay, yes, I'm frustrated, I need to push through it because it's not my own doing, you know what I mean? And I need to go out there and realize that I can do it in this, but if it is like, I can't shake it, and to just get out of the way, to realize like, okay, I need to be as ready to wait, and then not, and that's what I was kind of thinking of this morning, was then the battles to not, when you guys go out and have a great day, to be like, oh, I should have went out and got what I should have got, and, you know, realize that, well, maybe we wouldn't have got anything if I went out with the attitude I was in, and just, again, to get out of the way and let, you know, what needs to happen, and to just, for me to be like, yeah, this, understand it's right that we had the result that we needed, and to just get back to where it is and not be so result based, you know what I mean? To just remember that I took that time to get back to where I needed to be internally, so that I could get back where I need to be in terms of consistency and getting after it, like we were just talking. But
one thing I want to say to that, I challenge you, because like it's and I do it. I want to just be the first to say, but what's the word I'm looking for? They're the saying, what is it? Misery loves company, maybe. Birds of a feather flock together. It all maybe. But what I'm getting at is like, I see what you're saying, but you know, from the mindset of I had to do that, because if I was there, maybe they wouldn't have got it. Just not even thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? And just like, it's just all positivity, you know what I'm saying? And like that's what it comes down to. And the only reason I say this because I've been there before, and like it's been hard for I'm speaking again personally, but to get out of it because I'll start thinking like okay.
Yeah,
I
I
think
was.
that's a positive spin, and he's like, because I didn't go, they had a great day.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
that's
like
not-
if I would have won, I would have messed them up.
Okay.
I think it's
No,
like,
not that. I mean, I was toxic. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. I was
Yeah.
feeling toxic. I wouldn't have been a good teammate, like a good
I see what
locker
you're
room
saying.
presence to where I'm not saying that it wouldn't have happened. I'm just saying it was better for me to take myself out of that and let you guys have, you know, a day. Hopefully
Yeah.
something came from it other than making a selfish choice of, well, I need to make money. I need to go out there to get what I need and control this, and that, and just say, I need to just have faith that there's more days in the week I can come out and get a hat trick myself, you know what I mean? Not even knowing.
I think you said it with the control.
Yeah, of just to where that's what I was saying too, is there are gonna be times where I need to push myself through those instances, but in that one I was like, I'm toxic, I'm gonna say some stuff that I don't really wanna say just to take you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I need to go get to a place where I'm not speaking from ego, but I'm speaking from Christ, you know, and speaking life, not with Jake's upset, you know what I
I
mean?
feel you.
And so yeah, that was important. And I mean, I was trying to get there so I could get through, but again, that's like I was telling Sam, I knew I had a way to remove myself from the situation without derailing the operation of the day. And you know what I mean? It was gonna be a long day with, you know, the end of my night, my meeting and stuff. So I was like, I just need to go pray, meditate, you know, and get back there rather than seek a result and comfort in the result. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to get to a place to where I'm okay, and then the result will come. But I need to be okay, and not rely on the result to fix me.
Yeah.
I guess is all I was saying. And just again to look at it from a bigger picture of it's bigger than me, so we need results. Like me being there, if I in any way affect the mood, you know what I mean, and we don't get it, then it's just hurting the big picture of the company and what we're trying to do here, rather than, well, it's not about what Jake gets, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm in a good spot doing it for the right reasons.
I feel you.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember just like we're all humans, and I was even just thinking like in terms of follow through with everything. Everything is a very loaded word. Like nobody is ever going to be able to follow through with every little thing, but
yeah.
it's also recognition and like recognizing that you might hurt some people's feelings and people might be upset if you're not following through, and apologizing, and then maybe redirecting and replanning, and I'll follow through the next week and I'll make sure it gets done. I'm sorry I didn't get it done the first time, but yeah, I think everything's an intense word, but
Yeah, no, I think it's important for me to point out too, like a big part of that whole situation started with I didn't follow through on my follow-ups. And that was the whole, you know what I mean, what it got just lost in translation of that's how it works, of just, yeah, in a weird way, one got set and yada yada, but yeah, so just following through, if I would've did that, it would've never led to the whole situation in the first place. It's intense, but
Yeah, you,
just sticking to your word, I think, is the big thing.
yeah, and giving grace in the moments where like we're human and we miss the mark. I always like describe this picture to everyone in like leadership stuff though. When I think of follow through with everything, I think of like, you know, the movie scene with like the little boy who's like dad's not around that often and he says he's gonna show up to his baseball game and then calls the mom and says, oh, your dad called, he's not gonna make it, and the kid's just like, it just happens like every time. And like as adults, like when you're a mentor or a leader and you come in the workplace, like you just see another adult and you don't think that way. But like in reality, in the grand scheme of things, like you have experience and wisdom and knowledge they're looking for. It's kind of similar. And if you keep canceling on a one-on-one, or you say, oh, I'm gonna go be in the field with you, or I'm gonna go spend some time with you, and you keep rescheduling and not prioritizing, it communicates the same thing it does to like that little kid whose dad's not coming to the baseball games. It's like, I'm not gonna make time for you, like it's not important enough to me. And like I just think showing up is like the biggest thing in terms of following through with everything that's important. Like sometimes people associate it with like goals, that like there's never a guarantee to, like, oh, I'm gonna get 3 sets, I only got 2, I didn't follow through with that. Well, I mean, that's a goal, but like you can show up, like that's a choice, whether to or not. And I don't know, that's just like a powerful image I always have in my mind with it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes me think of just the parable of, like, oh, go to the field, and Jesus talking to one of the disciples, go to the field and do whatever work, and he was like, all right, I'll go, and then didn't go, and the other one, he's like, go to the field, do this job, and he was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, and then ended up going anyways, and he was like, which one did the Father's will? You know what I mean? The one that said he wasn't gonna do it and ended up deciding to do it, or, and that just made me think of like, yeah, just showing up, even if you show up late, you know what I mean? Because I got the picture of just like, the dad not being there and like he's bummed out, and then he makes it like real late after like paint all over his clothes, and he's up to bat season, just hits a home run, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I think that's the huge thing. And the other part of that I think you touched on earlier is just being conscientious of when we give our word on something. I think is the big thing too, is like we don't have to give our word to everything. We don't, you know what I mean? And just being more decisive of when we make a commitment, because when we give our word, we're following through with it. We're not just, I'll do it, and then whatever we get to, you know what I mean? But just really being like, I'll do it, even if it's as soon as I can, and they know it'll get done, and then it's like, no, I can't, and then they know, like, all right, they must really be busy if they're not gonna do it, or they must really need some time, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's the big thing, is just being more aware of our own situations and what we can take on, and not being or feeling guilty to say no. You know what I mean, and wait for the next opportunity.
Yeah, to the point, it's like be as certain as you possibly can if you're gonna commit that you can or can't do it. Because like sometimes people will be like, make a commitment to show up to a meeting with someone, and then they'll tell them, oh, I can't, I got busy, and they think just because they communicated I can't, it like fixed it. That like they at least communicated. It's not like they no-showed or didn't show up or said something after the fact. And it's like, I just go back to that same picture, like the kid's dad still called, he knew he wasn't coming, it didn't make it any better. Like you should have just said you couldn't if you couldn't. But yeah, I think like being super conscientious, like you're saying, and intentional is important.
Yeah, I think too, sometimes you do have to just remove the timeline aspect out of it, because there's been times where someone said they're going to do something for me, and maybe they didn't do it on my exact timeline, but they still did it, and that still meant something to me. But there's been other times where they said they're gonna do something and then never did it at all, period. And it's like, that's kind of more offensive. Like, yeah, I was still a little hurt, you did it late and off my timeline, but you still did it, I still meant something to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things come up, but it's just, giving your word and then just willfully not following through with it is, like you said, it's just some kind of twisted torture, honestly, what it does to a person. But
Time is an illusion.
yeah.
I was gonna say, once you let go of control of time, you'll control time.
Yeah.
Mark that. Go ahead, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say, like, I know towards the end we like to talk about solutions and stuff,
Yeah.
and it just popped in my head, like, just the fact of like follow through with everything being like a law I try to live by enough has been like a huge solution for me. Because I couldn't tell you how many times I had like 5 one-on-ones scheduled, like all of them ran over, and the last one would be so easy to move. And honestly, the only reason in the moment that I still did it anyways was because I literally told myself, like, follow through with everything, like just follow through with everything, like. And then I did it, and it was great, and I was glad I did it and had more, like, value after the fact. But, like, there's been moments I grudgingly, like, clenching my teeth and, like, follow through with everything. But it works, because it's, like, your own self-conviction to be mindful of, to be, like, I would want that person to do the same for me, or how would I feel if I canceled on that person last minute? So it's, like, even if you do it a little grudgingly, like, it will push you to get it done, or at least then get present in that moment with that person, and then you can change your attitude.
Yeah, as long as you remind yourself the importance of the statement in general. Like, there's like customers that'll call me and be like, "There's specks of dust on my window." Like, do you think I want to call them back? No, but that's what they're expecting, and you have to do it anyways. Like, just do it, and it means a lot more to that person than it might mean to you. Or
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think too, of, like, it's not what goes into the body that defiles us, but what comes out. And it's not so much even like what we'll get from following through with the action, but what it'll do to us and the habit it'll create of not, you know, and choosing to like, oh, well, I got something more important, or things change, you know, and be like, no, I already gave my word to this, no matter how enticing this thing that came up is, and just, you know, the character that builds. If I gave my word to this, I don't care if it's, you know, if I get to go see the Heisman ceremony, like I said I would work at this volunteer thing, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? And just something like that. But also too, I mean, that's what, maybe you just need to listen to some Wu-Tang. Word is bond. Wu-Tang's forever. I mean, that was. What do you got?
Insane in the membrane. Wu-Tang gang. Just
That's the solution. Insane.
I
Got
think-
no brain.
I think as a leader too, like, you have to remember, like, everyone's expecting something from you, and if you're giving it to other people, they're gonna notice that and see that. So just remembering, like, even if people are on different, like, leadership levels or doing different tasks, they're gonna notice if you're giving your time and following through with another person and not following through with them. So I think even just remembering, like, they're expecting something from you and looking up to you, and they're gonna notice if you're not.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just, you know, being a role model and taking like ourselves. I mean, that just goes back to how big of a problem selfishness is and everything. And just looking at from like it takes a village standpoint of, you know, what role can I play here? Not how can I do what I want to do? But yeah, I think that's a great point. But yeah, to wrap up, I think it's about that time. Yeah, it's about that time. I'm about to wrap up something positive.
Oh shucks.
What, you got something else for us?
I mean, not really. I just thought that's why I said insane in the middle. I thought that was the wrap up. I forgot the positive is the wrap up. Solution is I need to check the board.
You're good, man.
Continue.
Just go with the flow, man.
Roll
Don't worry about
camera.
the season. But yeah, I would just full circle. I mean, you know, winning doesn't make you a winner. Losing doesn't make you a loser. Winning habits make you a winner. And we all can fix that there. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for joining us today. Have a blessed day.